This week on Meet the Press, I spoke to White House trade advisor Peter Navarro about concerns Americans are having over market uncertainty. On the campaign trail, President Trump promised to bring down prices on day one. Now he's telling Americans there's going to be a transition cost. I don't have to tell you this. People are worried about everything.
What does that even
from their
mean?
Retirement savings, to the prices they're going to pay at the grocery store, whether shelves will be stocked. I think the big question is how long will Americans have to wait? How long will this transition of uncertainty last?
Well, let's talk about both recession and inflation, because there was some really big news this last week. And I'm going to answer your question. Trust me on that. So we had really good news on the inflation front. Both the producer price index, which is wholesale prices, consumer price index, had the lowest print since fall of 2023. Really good news. Congress passed the resolution, the budget resolution, which lays the groundwork for having the biggest, broadest tax cut in American history before August. Now, what does that mean? What does it mean for both recession and inflation? It means that we're going to have a debt-neutral tax cut financed by tariff revenues that's going to stimulate growth. It could be worth as much of 1.5 points in terms of GDP growth. At the same time, it's deflationary, not inflationary. It's unlike the Biden fiscal measures, which were just pure debt-driven. So there's really good news here.
You can see my full interview and a lot more at meetthepress.com.
Oh, wow,
you can also get more Meet the Press here on NBC News Now every weekday at 4 p.m.
All right, Kristen Welker, thanks so much. And let's get more of all of this with NBC News senior policy reporter Shannon Pettypiece. Shannon, thanks so much for being with us this morning. So there's been so much will they, won't they, sort of back and forth with this. The latest on the phones and tech devices getting this exemption, but even that has some confusion. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so what are consumers supposed to do? If you need to upgrade your phone, if you need to buy a laptop for your kid, how are you supposed to make these decisions? I would say right now there's kind of a reprieve for a bit. These electronics are still going to have a 20% tariff on them, which is not nothing, but it's not the sort of catastrophic situation we were looking at with 120, 150% tariff, which would have driven things like an iPhone up by hundreds of dollars. Ooh. So consumers still could see a price increase. And then you heard the president there over the weekend saying that additional tariffs could also be coming. So it seems the one thing that is for certain, at least in the near term, is that tariffs are sticking around. How much they are, when they're going into place is still kind of in flux, but that tariffs are going to still be around. And that's going to mean companies are going to have an additional cost to bring things into the U.S. And either they will pass all or some of that on to consumers, or they'll take lower profits and try and cut costs elsewhere.
And just the uncertainty here, not the tariffs themselves, but the uncertainty is definitely having an impact on the stock market. How are things looking globally and for U.S. futures?
Yeah, well, after that really wild week last week, so far stocks look like they're up a little bit, especially a company like Apple. These tariffs would have been like really catastrophic for Apple. About 80% of their products come from China. So a bit of reprieve here, but there's still, as you mentioned, so much uncertainty in other parts of the market to keep an eye on, which I know people aren't accustomed to following, but things like the bond market, things like currency that might show wider recession fears or a shift away from investing in the U.S. and in money going to other countries.
And on that topic of confusion, during the campaign, we heard so much drill, baby drill from the Trump administration, to call back to Sarah Palin, of course, from the 2008 race, meaning that there could be a boost in oil production, which a lot of companies and people thought could be a good thing, but the tariffs actually may be hurting that. You've been looking into this. What can you tell us?
Right. Well, a big part of the president's economic plan has been to drive down oil and gas prices by increasing productions, and people are starting to get a little reprieve at the pump. The problem is that if you're an oil driller, you don't like to drill for oil when prices are low, and oil prices have come down because of fears of recession. Costs for oil producers have also gone up. So the steel, the pipes they need, all of that has also gone up before tariffs. So oil companies are seeing higher costs, a lower price of oil. So they're starting to cancel projects and pull back from drilling, which could mean less oil produced in the U.S. and eventually higher oil prices and higher gas.
I bet you he wasn't ready for that one once they told him that yeah, so we wanted to drill more, but the price of other materials are going up. So we don't really want to continue. We just had to double the budget or cancel the project.
Prices.
Double the budget.
Wow, just so many facets continue to play out from this. Shannon, thanks for helping us understand this. We appreciate it. All right, to Pennsylvania now, where a man is facing charges including attempted murder in connection to a fire this weekend at Governor Josh Shapiro's official residence. Police evacuated the governor and his family from their home around 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. Thankfully, no one was hurt. NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster is in Harrisburg with more on what police say appears to be a targeted attack.
Hi there. Yes, police say a 38-year-old man is in custody after he broke into the home of Governor Josh Shapiro and started a fire. While no one was injured in this attack, it's being called a targeted attack. You look at some of the images and you just see the charred remains of the dining room inside. Police say Cody Balmer, that's the suspect, was charged with serious counts including attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, and aggravated assault. Police say security here was notified that someone had broken onto the property, but that this man evaded security, was able to use a hammer to break the window of the residence and then set off multiple incendiary devices, listing it in a complaint that...
I don't know if y'all saw that, but the camera moved. My desk moved. Maybe it was my foot. There was a big earthquake earlier and I didn't feel it, so I thought that might have been residuals or something.
Was just released to the public. Now, speaking to reporters yesterday, Governor Shapiro was emotional at times and also angry, saying that his family was at risk and saying that he would not be intimidated from doing his job. We know that overnight, President Trump said that he was aware of the attack, and we heard from Vice President J.D. Vance, who posted on social media, calling the attack disgusting. We know the investigation continues. The FBI is also involved in this investigation, and we learned from authorities overnight that federal charges are certainly possible. As we continue to watch the scene, you look at some of those pictures again, traumatizing moments for the governor as his family was inside, guests were inside. The governor saying that he's going to continue to do his job, but that, of course, there's some scary moments that they're dealing with. Back to you.
All right, Shaq Brewster, thank you. Well, this morning, a Wisconsin teenager who is charged with murdering his parents is also now accused of plotting to assassinate President Donald Trump.
That's
NBC
crazy.
News correspondent Maggie Vespa has those details from the FBI affidavit.
17-year-old Nikita Kasif, already charged with the chilling double murder of his Wisconsin parents, now in the FBI's crosshairs for investigators believe plotting to kill President Donald Trump, according to newly unsealed federal court documents. The news stunning the small city of Waukesha.
What's it like to hear that about your neighbor?
My question is, what was his plan? And what was his reason? What's his reason?
It's terrible. I was just so torn by it.
This FBI affidavit saying authorities found in the teen's phone a manifesto calling for the assassination of the president of the United States in order to foment a political revolution and promote white supremacy, along with materials linking him to a neo-Nazi extremist group. Investigators writing Kasif in messages with someone said he planned to use a drone in the attack that would drop a bomb with nuts, bolts, needles, and then flee to Ukraine. The affidavit stating Kasif had paid for, at least in part, a drone and explosives and was...
So he was really on the move. He had a mission. That's why he did his parents first. He was like, I don't want you to be ashamed once you find out.
Communicating with someone with a Ukrainian number. It did not say where or when he allegedly planned to target the president. This after, back in late February, local authorities during a welfare check found the teen's parents shot to death in the family home. The affidavit saying the couple had been dead for roughly 2 weeks and Kasif living in the home with their bodies, then fleeing before he was arrested in Kansas. Investigators writing the killing of his parents appeared to be an effort to obtain the financial means and autonomy necessary to carry out his plan.
Our Maggie Vespa reporting there. Kasif has not entered a plea for those state murder charges, but this new affidavit indicates federal charges could be coming for the foiled assassination plots. Well, this morning, we're learning new information about the helicopter charter company behind the New York flight that led to last Thursday's deadly crash. That company shutting down. It comes as investigators continue to search for more pieces of the aircraft in the Hudson River that have not yet been recovered. They're hoping all these pieces can come together to give them a better idea of what caused the crash, which killed all 6 people on board. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin has the latest.
Hey there. Well, divers are expected to return to the waters of the Hudson today, searching for clues as to exactly what caused that helicopter to crash. You can see behind me, in fact, in the distance, those blinking lights over there, that is a police boat. Meanwhile, this morning, the FAA has released a statement saying that the helicopter tour company in question is, quote, shutting down their operations immediately. In a statement writing, we will be launching an immediate review of the helicopter tour operator's license and safety record, adding safety is the FAA's #1 priority, and we will not hesitate to act to protect the flying public. This after lawmakers, including New York Senator Chuck Schumer, called for the helicopter tour company to be shut down pending an investigation questioning the helicopter's safety record. We have heard from the company prior to the FAA statement in their own statement saying that they are, quote, profoundly saddened by the devastating crash into the Hudson River, adding they are fully cooperating with the FAA and NTSB investigations. Meanwhile, the NTSB is saying that there was no flight recorder, no video camera on board the helicopter. They are still looking for critical components, including the main rotor and the main gearbox. Senator Chuck Schumer saying that without some of those components being found by divers in the water in the coming days, it'll be very difficult to piece together exactly what happened. Back to you.
A lot of work left. Aaron McLaughlin, thank you. Well, turning now to our weather for the week ahead. NBC meteorologist Michelle Grossman is here tracking some severe storms across the Ohio Valley. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we were tracking some wet weather to start off our work week in the Ohio Valley. We could see some strong storms with damaging winds, the chance for hail, and even a few tornadoes. So it's a weak system. It's moving pretty quickly, but we are looking at the chance for even some spring snow. Where you see the blue, that would be in portions of northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, and then some heavy rain in spots. The Appalachians, but relatively weak system. This will all move off to the east as we go throughout today and also tomorrow. So here's that front as it moves off to the east. Spring snow targets the northern Great Lakes, severe storms for the mid-Atlantic, and also the lower Ohio Valley with those damaging winds and also some pretty large hail. And then as we go throughout tomorrow, it moves further off to the east, off the coast for the most part, but still looking at those scattered snow showers. Again, we could see a spot for seeing the stronger storms. So 14 million people are at risk for that large. Again, could see set the likeliest spot in some of those storms at that daytime. Here's the winter warning. So warning is that pink color. We're looking locally up to 8 inches on. There's a snowfall forecast where you see these colors here, pinks and purples. That will be the highest amounts correlating to the UP of Michigan. Temperatures were kind of split once again. We have the jet stream that's dipped a little bit from the north plains. Upper Midwest, that's where we're seeing those more cold temperatures and where we're seeing some snow. But look what's dipped. We have normal highs on the southern plains east, and we're well up in some spots. So today, 60% this time of year, that's you to 100 degrees. That's what is typical for this time of year. Tucson, you're really warm to 93. And then notice the eastern half of the nation, pretty warm. 77 in Charleston, West Virginia, 8 above. That's where we're going to see the chance for some of the storms. So again, warm air clashing with the cooler air, kind of helping to some of the storms that land 81 planes. These storms go out tomorrow and Wednesday. There is a roller coaster there. So the streets are a little bit talking about temperatures below in Paducah, 6 degrees below what is typical for this time of year. There is that cooler air. It's going to allow that door to open from Canada, allowing that cooler air to come in. And still really warm out to the plains, the Intermountain West, into the Southwest, 87 in Las Vegas. That is 8 degrees, typical for this time, and 75 in Billings. As we go throughout the later part of the week, we're looking at temperatures really warm in Denver. Mid-70s Wednesday, Thursday, 50 degrees on Friday. Those big dips from day to day. And we'll see that as we go Thursday into Friday. Kansas City, we're going to go 8 degrees, Dallas back to 85. We're close to near 90 degrees today. And then warming highs in the east into portions of New England late week. We're looking at temperatures in Boston. Friday, 61 degrees, 78 degrees in Cincinnati, 69 in Detroit, and 73 degrees in D.C. We're going to see those temperatures rising as we go throughout the next couple of days. You are with this roller